Hey there, if you follow us here on our YouTube channel or on our website, you know that my name is Scott Talley. I'm the broker owner here at 5Market Realty. And what we like to do is to provide a monthly market update for our clients and people that follow us to kind of help you keep up with the trends of what we're seeing in the local real estate market, mostly Athens, but some of the neighboring counties, Oconee County, for example. We also do listing videos for new properties. So if you're interested in anything related to Athens area real estate, be sure to click subscribe and you'll be notified when we have a new video. And I'll get started here today on our March market update. Full disclosure here, I usually do these things in one shot, one take, and then move about my day. I've already done this once, and I did find a typo that I just could not live with. So here we are for take number 2. But let's get started, and I'll go over these numbers with you. What we are seeing is an early rebound in sales and new listings, and we really are seeing some market norms return. I've been doing this since 2004, and I'm seeing things that we saw well before COVID, and that's a good sign. Now, if you follow us on these videos, you know we track mostly 4 main things in 2 counties. We're looking at the number of new listings, we're looking at the days on market, average sold price, and the number of sales. And we're comparing that to the same time last year or year to date to give us an idea of what's happening in the market. Now, we look here, we've got some good news. 317 new listings versus the same time last year, going up 26%. Days on market around 50. Average sold price 422. And then the sales, while they're still behind 2022, which let's remember what was happening in February of 2022. This was pre-interest rate hikes. We are actually an 11% gain over the same time last year. And let me say this. I counted only up to February 29th. If I could have counted Friday, March 1st, these numbers are going to be significantly better. We're going to be more up on listings, about 50 days on market, around 450 on the sale, and we'd be over 200 on new sales. So missing that one day really made a difference. But if I counted it, then when it comes April, I'm going to end up counting the numbers twice. So let's examine a little more February and see what happened. Now, you've got about the same amount of listings with a 5% gain, 142 to 134. The days on market is about the same, 6%. Average sold price, 431. Now, despite what you're hearing with these interest rates, the prices have not really gone off. I mean, we're just seeing a more slower appreciation, 5%, 7% right there, almost 8%. And then look at the total homes sold. Now, it's 15% behind 2022 with 107. That's actually gaining from last month. Last month, we were closer to 40% behind. Now, it's only 15% behind 2022, which that was pre-interest rate hikes. And we've actually got a little over 12% gain over last year. I think the worst part of the real estate market was probably heading to this time last year. Interest rate hikes going up very aggressively. The spring market was not the spring market. It was a late start. 2023 is going to feel like the trough or kind of the bottom for real estate activity, I hope at least. Now, we've been doing this a little bit recently, comparing the 2 counties together, Clarke and Oconee. Now, while in these reports we do group them together because they are kind of the same market, they do function differently. So the reason we do this is to show you, if you're in one of these markets, specifically Oconee or Clarke, what the differences are. Because as you can see, Athens is 60% more listings in Oconee County at 227. And then you've got days on markets a little bit less. It's going to be a little longer sit out there in Oconee with 55 days. The sales price, that's the difference. In Clarke County, you have more affordable property, even though 364 is still a lot of money. We have more condos in Clarke County. Oconee County, you're going to be close to $600,000 as your average sales price, which is about a 40% difference. And then look at the total homes sold. Again, a 65% difference with 134 to 47. They were grouping them together at one point, but I do want you to see where they are different. Monthly inventory of homes. Now, I pulled this yesterday, which would have been Saturday, March 2nd. And what I want you to see there is 285 homes for sale. This is just the Athens MLS, residential homes, residential income. We're not counting land. We're not counting things like that. 105 more than the same time last year. 180 in March last year, 285. Now, while technically we are in a low supply market, that is a far, far improvement from where we were last year. Some people still feel like there's not enough inventory. And the truth is, there may just not be enough inventory for what you're wanting to find, but we do have a rising inventory. Let's go here to the monthly total sales. Now, I've already got an arrow there at 71 because I want you to pay attention. February last year is 71. We want to be at 200. 107 in February. Now, as I mentioned before, if I could have counted March 1st, could have seen that number go up past 120, maybe 130, but I didn't. It's only counting February, but that is still 36 more than a year ago. So 71 last February to 107, and that's not counting March 1st, Friday, March 1st, which would have made those numbers jump even more significantly. So I feel like what we're seeing in the market, we're going to see inventory more than we've seen before, and we're trying to demonstrate that to you. So if you're thinking about something now that it's March, you know what you're getting into in this climate. We've talked about this a lot over the last maybe a year now. I've started tracking what we call the monthly inventory or the absorption rate. So just to explain to you what I mean by that is you take the amount of homes that are on the market in a given month and divide that by the amount of homes that are being sold. And basically you end up with a number that's going to give you the months of inventory. So if we're at 2.6, that's about 2.5. If you're at 3.8, that's about 4 months. Now you can see September, October, November, we started getting close to that balanced market of 4 months. But what happened right here in February? We came down to about 2.5 again, and we started to eat up some of the inventory or take down more sales a little bit more aggressively. Probably going to expect that trend to continue in March. Let's look back a year ago. We were at 2.5 in February there too, same thing. And it started trending down into May, June, July. I expect more inventory in the spring and summer months this year. But despite interest rates, we're still seeing buyers in the market. So if you're coming into the market, be prepared to know the inventory will be taken down as we get into the spring months. This is where I want to end the video. I want to cover some things that I have not talked about yet that I want you to pay attention to. Number one, buyers are still buying despite what you hear. We've said that before, that there's a narrative that the market's bad. It's not. It's returning to more normal. 50 days on the market is a very normal market time. We're seeing negotiations again. We're really seeing that, as I've noted there before. What I mean by that, it's not as if buyers are getting some tremendous amount off the price. They may if the property was overpriced, but it's very normal now to see some closing costs, a little bit longer due diligence period, maybe 2 to 3% off the purchase price, depending on the property. So if you are coming into the market, know that it's a little bit more balanced and buyers have a little bit more of a leg to stand on than they did 2 years ago. And remember what we said about interest rates? So interest rates, but everybody's the narrative in January was that they were going to be coming down and things were going to be great. Meanwhile, we got to February, and what do the rates do? They went back up. So do not plan on rates coming down as your guarantee of something that's going to happen. What I also want to mention is listen to your real estate professional. I had an experience over the last month, 2 clients buying the same type of property. One client chose not to take the advice and talk to a few lender recommendations. The other client did take the advice and chose to talk to a few lender recommendations. They purchased a very similar property. Both had excellent credit. The difference in their interest rate was 1.5 points. 1.5 points in interest rate. The person that listened and took the lender recommendations got 1.5 points better. The person that did not did 1.5 points worse. So please listen to your professional. There's a reason why we work in this industry, because we can help you. And I want to also talk about scams. There are a lot of new scams out there that I think people are unaware of. You need to beware of this. Take, for example, if someone texts you or calls you and offers to lower your interest rate on your mortgage, that's a red flag. Rates are higher right now. You should not be able to reduce from a 5% to anything better. We're hearing stories where some people have lost money through a fraudulent refinance. In some cases, in other parts of the country have lost their home through a fraudulent refinance. Please talk to a professional before you enter into something like this. Also, unsolicited text messages that offer to buy your house, things like that. You need to beware, because there are a lot of predatory practices out there that can put you, 1, into a scam, or 2, into a perpetual contract. There are a lot of what you might call a wholesaler that's going to offer to buy your house, no mess, no fuss, and they'll buy it from you, obviously at a discounted rate. But what they're trying to do is they're trying to get a contract for $200,000 on your house and then sell it to somebody else for $290,000. Watch the contract timeframes. We've seen clients that have entered into these agreements and there's no end date. So while the buyer does not perform on the contract, the seller cannot come to us and list their property because their house is under this long contract agreement. You need to reach out to a professional. Lastly, I want you to pay attention to this website, fans.gscca.org. That is the Clerk's Authority website for the state of Georgia, where they record deeds. So what this is a way for you to register your name in the state of Georgia. And if it comes up that somebody's filed a deed in your name, you're going to be notified. Now, obviously, if your name is John Smith, you're going to get a lot more emails, but this is a great way to kind of track it. Just this past week, I got a notification that there was a Charles Talley that filed a deed in Tift County. And I grew up in Valdosta, just below Tift. Had no idea there was a Charles Talley living so close. But of course, I went to the Q Public website. I looked it up, and it looks like Chuck Talley bought some real estate in Tifton, Georgia, and that is okay with me. Does not affect any of the properties I currently own. Lastly, too, I guess I've said that twice now, file your homestead exemption. If you don't know what that means, if you bought a house last year before April 1st, you need to go to the courthouse in your county and tell them, this is my primary residence. I purchased it in 2023. Please file for your homestead exemption. It will bring your property tax rate down as your primary residence. And those are basically the factors I wanted to cover there. It's been almost 10 minutes. I always like to end to remind you that this is our group at 5Market Realty. If you need help, if you just want to ask advice because you've gotten one of these text messages, reach out to somebody here, info@5mrealty.com. Our number is below. Any of our professionals here are people you can trust to advise you and give you help in the market, whether you're buying or selling, even planning a renovation. If you think, where should you spend the money on your home? Somebody here can kind of tell you what might be a good idea. Also, be sure to click subscribe. You'll be updated when we have another market update video, or if we have a new listing coming to market, you'll be notified with the video for that property. Thanks for sticking with me for over 10 minutes on take 2 here on Sunday afternoon. So hopefully this one will not have that terrible mistake I made before. Have a great week. Next month, hopefully we'll have pollen in our eyes and green flowers outside. You'll have a great March.